Greetings everyone, and welcome to another STEAM Crafternoon with the Alexander Hamilton Library. My name is Miss Afton, and I am the children's librarian here in the Waynesboro Library. And today for our STEAM Crafternoon for kids, we are going to be using physics, which is the science of motion, which is pretty cool. So our inspiration today comes from the story of Sleeping Beauty, and it's really about solving a problem in Sleeping Beauty. So if you're not familiar with this story, it basically goes like this. There's a princess who is born, and everyone in the kingdom is invited except for one fairy, and she gets really angry that she's not invited to the party and shows up anyway. She curses the new princess so that when she's 16, she will prick her finger on the needle of a spinning wheel and fall asleep. So the princess is hidden away with other fairies that try to protect her, but on her 16th birthday, she ends up pricking her finger on the needle and she falls asleep for 100 years. Now, during that time in her castle, everyone else falls asleep and massive thorns grow up to block the castle from anyone who would save her. So her Prince Charming comes to save her and wake her up with a kiss, but to do so, he has to fight through all of the thorns to get into the castle. So at the end of the story, he does, of course, kiss her, and true love's kiss breaks the spell, and she wakes up and they live happily ever after. But today, for our STEAM project, I was thinking, what could make the prince's job easier to break into the castle, so to get past those thorns? And if you're thinking of the Disney movie, he even has to get past a dragon that's Maleficent as a dragon. So what could make his job easier? Well, today we're going to be, for the second part, we're going to be building our own castle creations using marshmallows and toothpicks. So these are really fun, simple, creative things that you can make that's your own style, that's fun to experiment. But to get into your castle or to attack your castle, today we're going to be using simple machines to build our own catapult. Now, if you've never heard of a catapult before, it was a big machine that they used to use in medieval times that you could load into the cup something like a heavy stone or a flaming tar ball or other nasty stuff. Then when you pull down the lever and let it go, it flings the heavy rock or whatever it is through the air into the castle walls or over the walls into the castle itself. So it's a pretty great attack mechanism that was used in the Middle Ages. Today we are going to be building our own using some simple materials. So let's get started. Okay, so like we said, we're going to be making a popsicle stick puffball catapult. So, let's try. Woo! All right, you'll be able to make a really, really simple, fun catapult that uses some simple physics and the simple machine of a lever. So the first thing we're going to need is to get our materials in order. So you can see we built the base of our catapult using popsicle sticks. So if you're using one of our STEAM kits from the library, you'll get these in your bag. If you are not using one of our STEAM kits, which I would recommend that you do if you're in the Waynesboro area because they're free, but if you're not, you'll just need anywhere from 5 to 10 popsicle sticks. So in the STEAM kit, we have all of the ones that you'll need. I'm going to take 2 popsicle sticks first and set them to the side. They are going to be the arms of my catapult lever. The rest of my popsicle sticks are going to create my catapult's supporting base. So this is what's going to help your catapult balance so that it doesn't just fall over immediately. It'll also give you a place to hold on to make sure that your catapult is nice and steady. So for mine, I'm going to take my 5 popsicle sticks. Like I said, I'd recommend at least 3. You can do up to 7, but that's going to get really big. I'll take them and just make a stack. All right, so I have my 5 popsicle sticks stacked. Now I need something to bind them together. So if you want yours to last for a really long time, you could glue these. We're just going to keep things simple. So my next step is to get out my rubber bands. You should have in your steam kit about 6. So they did stick together, so you may end up with more, but you'll have at least 6 in your kit. And what we're going to do is we're going to just wrap the 2 ends of those groups of popsicle sticks together so that they will stay and be really sturdy. And I'm going to try to make this as tight as I comfortably can. You don't have to go crazy, but we want it to really make sure that we stay together. So I'm going to take a second rubber band and do the same thing to the other side, where I'm just wrapping as much as I can, and then I'm going to kind of push them back into place to make sure that they are together and solid. All right. So step 1 is done. Our catapult is 1 step closer to being ready for battle. My next step is now going to be to take those 2 other popsicle sticks. Like I said, these are going to make the arms of my catapult lever. So this is what's going to go up and down, and this is where your force is going to come from. Right? These are going to be where your force comes from to launch your puffball or whatever else you're shooting into the air. So we need to make these into a V shape. What we're going to do that is to just take another rubber band, and only at one end, I'm going to wrap my rubber band around the 2 popsicle sticks. And I want to try to make this as tight as I can. Now, even so, next I'm going to try to line up the ends again. So if I need to slide it a little bit or slide the rubber band. All right, so now I've got a very tense and hard to pull apart V. Woo! So here is one of the trickiest parts. All right, we're going to open up the 2 legs of our lever, and I'm going to now take those 5 popsicle sticks and I'm going to slide them inside. You should be able to slide them down close to the rubber band. You want to stop when it starts to get really, really tense because you don't want to break your popsicle stick. So I'll put that nice and flat, and now it's time to attach these together. So you can see on my finished catapult, it's time for another rubber band. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just wrap this around and try to twist it to make an X over the legs of the lever. So I twist, go around, twist, go around. And if yours ends up not having X's exactly like this, that's okay. Right. What we need is we just need that to stay in place with something crisscrossing over top so that they're not going to fly off like crazy and torque around from all the tension that we're going to be putting on. So torque is a fancy way to say that it's going to twist because of the tension. So now I've got my basic catapult shape. If I hold down my base, I can see, that is ready to fling something into the air. But if I take my puffball right now, that actually worked pretty well, but it's a little hard to get it to stay on there unless you keep your finger there. So let's add the cup. In our case, the spoon. So I'm going to take my spoon and I'm actually going to slide it under just 1 or 2 of my rubber band pieces that holds my catapult lever onto my base. And that'll just help hold the bottom stable. Then, like my catapult here, I'm going to add another rubber band that goes around the top of the spoon, and that will hold it to that top lever arm. And this is another one that you want to try to make it tight. So if you have any extra, see if you can just reach that over the spoon and down onto the popsicle stick. And I'm going to roll these down just slightly. All right, so now my spoon is attached to my lever or my catapult cup. My base is ready to go. I've got my 2 supporting arms to help puff it up and create the tension. Now it's time to test. So I'll take my hand, hold down on my supporting arm. So you can hold down on the supporting arm or you can hold down at the base of the lever. I'll wind back my catapult cup and there it goes. So you couldn't see it, but it flew probably about 2 feet up in the air, which is pretty cool from a very simple rubber banded popsicle stick catapult. So this is a really fun activity that is pretty easy to make as long as you're okay winding all of those rubber bands. And it's pretty fast too, which is cool. So the science behind our catapults today is also pretty simple with a simple machine. So we are using a simple lever today. Now a lever is when you have a base and an arm, and the arm makes it easier to lift a weight. All right, so it's like a seesaw is a kind of lever that has a pivot in the middle. So a lever is a simple machine that lets you pick up greater weight than you should be able to grab. Now, to our lever, we're also adding some really cool physical science. So we're doing some physics where we're going to be using our lever and creating tension and torsion, or torque, to help our puffball fly through the air. So at the base of our lever, we're creating tension by putting those two pieces together, and we're also adding tension by adding these supporting arms in the middle. So with our rubber band holding these together, our lever wants to snap flat, but that supporting arm in the middle is forcing it to open, which creates all of that really great tension that will help it pop up. And when we pull down on our spoon and release, that pushing down motion creates lots of tension and torsion, kind of turning this popsicle stick out of shape. You can see as I bend it that it's actually bending it so it's no longer straight. It's now going up and then curving down again over our support arm. So that's creating a lot of torque, which is twisting it out of shape. When we release, then it releases back to that straight shape with our tension provided from the base of the lever with the rubber band. And that tension and torsion are what cause our puffball to fly. Right? And so now with your popsicle stick catapult, what would a catapult be without something to attack? So our last part is going to be using our marshmallows and toothpicks to do some really fun castle building. Okay, now that your catapult is ready, it is time to build your castle and attack. So for our building today, you're going to need the supplies that are left over from your steam kit. Or if you're not using a steam kit, you're going to need some toothpicks and some mini marshmallows. All right. Now, my mini marshmallows here are a little old, so they're a little hard, but in your steam kit, you'll have nice new ones. If you need to use hard ones at home, that's okay. It'll just mean that you have to push a little bit harder when you put together your toothpicks. So first, I'm going to think about what shapes I want my castle to be. So I've built this before, so I'm going to use some really simple shapes, and I'm going to start my base with a square. Right, so to do that, I'm going to take a toothpick and take a marshmallow, and all I'm going to do is squish my toothpick into my marshmallow. All right, this is the first step. Next, I'm going to take another marshmallow and I'm going to put it on the other end of my toothpick and squish it into the middle. So now I've got 2 marshmallows on the end of my toothpick. It kind of looks like a tiny barbell. So if I wanted to work on my muscles or some little wheels, all right, this is the start of our square. Now I'm going to take another toothpick and I'm going to stick the toothpick into the marshmallow going to the side. All right, so it's turning the corner. Then I'm going to put another marshmallow on, and I'm going to turn it again, put another toothpick inside, put another marshmallow, and another toothpick. So our pattern went marshmallow, toothpick, marshmallow, toothpick, marshmallow, toothpick, marshmallow, toothpick. And what I ended up with is a square. Now I'm going to lay this down, and this will be the bottom or the base of my castle. If I want to start building up, well, I'm going to start building up. So I'm going to take my toothpick and now I'm going to stick my toothpick into the marshmallow so it's pointing up in the air. All right, I'll do the same with another one. So I'll stick it in so that it's pointing up. I'll stick it another one in the third, and then in my last marshmallow. So now you can see I've got a square with 4 toothpicks sticking up in the air. So we did toothpick. We'll follow the pattern marshmallow toothpick, marshmallow toothpick. So now I have toothpicks. It's time for marshmallows. So I'll take 4 marshmallows and put 1 on each toothpick. All right, so you can see I'm starting to build a taller castle, but you can see, ooh, this is really wobbly. So to help my castle be stronger, I need to fill in those empty spaces at the top. So I'm going to take a toothpick and now connect these 2 marshmallows by squeezing it in there. And now 1 wall is complete. I'll do the same thing here. So stick in squish the toothpick into the middle. Then we'll go to the next one, get another toothpick, squish it into the middle of the 2 marshmallows, and do the same thing with the last one, squish it into the middle of the 2 marshmallows. And now I actually have a cube, which is a 3-dimensional volume that's made up of 6 squares put together. So by using my 8 marshmallows and 8 toothpicks, 12 toothpicks, I made a cube. And you can keep using this and building on. So maybe I'll take my toothpick and I'll start building out. So I'll do toothpick, marshmallow, toothpick, marshmallow, and then finish that with another toothpick. So you can see I'm adding on to my base by making another square on the bottom. Right, and I can make more going up, and before long you'll start to get your castle structure. So when you have your castle ready, all right, and this is a good challenge for young builders practicing some simple shapes and volumes, and for more advanced builders it's great practice seeing what you can make and how elaborate and big and strong your structure can be with a limited amount of supplies. When you're done building, then it's time, of course, to enjoy your catapult and attack your castle. So we'll take our catapult and you can go, ha, 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 and see if you can knock down your castle. If you have extra marshmallows, you can even put some of those mini marshmallows on. They do fly a lot farther and a lot harder since they're a bit heavier than your puffball. So if you use something heavier, please just be careful. But now it's time to enjoy your catapult and attack. All right, so we hope that you enjoyed this week's STEAM Crafternoon activity. And don't forget that all of these supplies will come in your STEAM kit. If you're in the Waynesboro area, feel free to stop by the library and pick up free STEAM kits for kids during our curbside hours. So curbside is at our front door Monday to Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. and then Saturdays from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. So like I said, pick up your free STEAM kits today. All right, there's no limit on how many STEAM kits you can take. We just ask you to limit it to the number of kids you think will actually do the kits at home. And feel free, while supplies last, to pick up kits from previous weeks as well. And you can find our STEAM videos with instructions on Facebook and on our YouTube. Just search for Alexander Hamilton Memorial Free Library. So thanks for joining us for another Kids STEAM Crafternoon. We'll do full steam ahead and we'll keep creating. All right, see you next week.